Hi, I'm Chuck Myron.
And I'm his wife, Taryn Myron.
And we're married to Saturdays.
Married to Saturdays. Welcome back.
Well, I guess the Saturdays are over as we record this. It is the last Sunday in December.
Yes.
Meaning that yesterday was the last Saturday of college football. There was some bowl action, Pop-Tarts Bowl, a few other bowls.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, the big focus now is the playoffs.
That's correct.
But before we get to those, I do want to touch on Tennessee's bowl game coming up. Of course, Florida State does not have a bowl game.
No.
Decided not to take the Birmingham Bowl bid.
Correct.
Ultimately, as a 5-7 second chance team.
Yes, along with a lot of other 5-7 teams who declined that bowl as well.
But Tennessee is in the Music City Bowl.
Yes.
Against Illinois. Of course, there will be opt-outs,
yes.
as is always the case now with bowls. Chris Brazell, the SEC's leading receiver, will not be there, along with Arian Carter will not be there, team's leading tackler, and Colton Hood,
right.
The best defensive back after starting two defensive corners, really missed most of the season. Of course, Jabber's McCoy will not play. He has not played all season. He's going to the draft. Also, so many, really some figures on defense. Defense had been the worst part of the team all year long.
Right.
But some of the best players on that defense that struggled and that brought about the change in coordinators from Tim Banks,
correct,
Jim Knowles. That is, going to be depleted.
Yes,
for Tennessee.
That's correct.
I think the onus is on Joey Aguilar and the offense minus Brazell to score a lot of points.
Right.
It's going to have to be a shootout, I think.
Oh, okay. There's your prediction, shootout.
Well, with so many missing pieces on defense, of course, Illinois has some missing pieces too, but
right.
with so many missing pieces from a defense that was already struggling, then I think I don't think it could be anything but a shootout. So should be a fun one in the Music City Bowl. Hopefully Tennessee emerges on top. That would give Tennessee another 9-win season. Of course, every year since 2022. Up to this point has been a 9-win year for Coach Josh Heupel and Tennessee. So hopefully, they get it done. Of course, the stakes in bowl games relatively low, although Tennessee seems to be preparing to give their best. And it's good that Aguilar is there. We
yes.
don't know if he's going to be able to get another year of eligibility. Which actually brings a lot of instability to the quarterback room.
Correct.
In Tennessee. He's going to be playing in the bowl game, which is a plus.
Fantastic.
But who is Tennessee's starting quarterback for next year? That's an open question. And of course, they could have Aguilar coming back.
Correct.
Possibility, although it seems to be a dwindling possibility. As time is sort of running out on that lawsuit. We've got the transfer portal opening up on January 2nd. But you've also got Faison Brandon,
yes.
the highly touted freshman coming in, and George McIntyre, the highly touted freshman who sat on the bench for most of this year.
Correct.
So it's going to be, I think, a competition between Brandon and McIntyre. Now, if Aguilar is back, I think he has the job.
There's no competition.
But Brandon and McIntyre, I think, will be the primary figures in that. But it sounds like Tennessee's interested in bringing in at least some competition in the transfer portal. Anthony Colandrea from UNLV
That's correct.
Seems to be the target.
Correct.
Now, of course, Tennessee not the only school in the mix for Anthony Colandrea.
Yes, Florida State is also in the mix for him. And Florida State has some quarterback changes as well. Of course, they've still got Kevin Sperry. So we'll see what he does next year. How much of a part of Florida State's quarterback room is he going to be a part of? Is he going to be the starter? Is he not? That remains to be seen. We know Tommy Castellanos has declared for the NFL draft. And we know that our third-string quarterback, Brock Glenn, who was the quarterback when we won the ACC championship in 2023, has entered the transfer portal.
Well, now you're down to one quarterback.
Correct.
So I think if I'm Calandrea, I look at that as an opportunity to go right in and start for Florida State.
Right.
But I think things are pretty unsettled, to be honest, at Florida State. It's been
everything is
a
unsettled.
rocky road
Yes.
for the last couple of years there.
Yes.
And so you sort of, I think if you're Calandrea, you have to choose between, do I want to go into a situation like that with an opportunity to go right in and pretty much be the starter from day one?
Correct.
Or do I want to go into a situation where, hey, I'm going to have some legitimate competition and may not win that starting job? Is that going to be kind of a wasted year for him?
Right.
So it's a little surprising to me that you have two very different situations there,
exactly.
Florida State and Tennessee, that they're competing for the same guy. But Tennessee would love to have him. But
I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah. And
so would Florida State.
And I think if he goes to Tennessee, I think he would go there with the intention, and I think the confidence that he could win that starting job.
Correct. And also, you have to think Tennessee and Florida State have very different head coaching situations. Mike Norvell is going to start the 2026 season on the hot seat. Josh Heupel will not, even no matter what happens in this bowl game, he will not be on the hot seat starting 2026.
No, I don't think you can put in this day and age any sort of weight on the what happens in a bowl game. Now, look, Tennessee did change coordinators.
They did.
The first time that Heupel has let go a member of his staff, and I think it kind of shows, everything is not absolutely hunky dory for Tennessee. Everything, this year was a step back from last year, where Tennessee went to the playoffs, and I think Josh Heupel should get credit for making moves accordingly, for replacing Banks when it was obvious
when
that
it was
the defense
just
simply was insufficient.
Correct.
So we'll see under Knowles how the defense is going to respond. Of course, he has a complex scheme, takes a while to learn it. But next year it will be a really challenging schedule. 9 wins may be tough to come by.
Right.
So I think you have to measure Heupel by the circumstances that he's in, and with Nico, going the way he did, it was this year was going to be a tough year anyway. Next year may be a challenging year, but I don't think there's any reasonable person who looks at Tennessee and says, look, we're going in the wrong direction.
Correct.
With Heupel. Heupel has revived that program.
Yes.
Brought it back to a stage that it has not been in 20, 25 years.
And that's what I was going to say. Josh Heupel is the best Tennessee head coach since Phil Fulmer's first head coaching stint there.
Right. Well, I mean, he only had one. He only had one, really.
That's right,
but there were sort of 2 eras of Fulmer.
Yes.
There was the national championship contending era, and then there was the post-championship era where things, seemed to be in gradual decline.
Correct.
Slow but gradual, and it's Tennessee is back, I think, in not perhaps to where they were in the 90s, but probably in those 2000s, in that sort of second phase of the Fulmer era. Now, the goal is to bring it back to where Tennessee was in the 90s with Peyton Manning. But, hey, that's the elite tier of college football. It's tough to get there, and, it can take a while.
Yes.
It doesn't, you're not necessarily going to get a Kurt Signetti in there who's going to turn things around overnight. So, but we'll see how they do in the Music City Bowl.
That's right.
And go from there.
Okay, sounds great.
All right. So speaking of Kurt Signetti and Indiana and the elite tier of college football, let's talk a little about the playoffs.
They're coming. They're here. It's such an exciting time.
Well, it's going to start on New Year's Eve night.
Yes, the quarterfinals.
With the Cotton Bowl. Of course, we had the first round, and now we're getting into this second round, which is at the bowl sites.
Yes.
This one at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, or the Dallas Metroplex, I suppose. And that's Miami and Ohio State.
I think this is going to be a fantastic game. A lot of people are still talking about the last time they played, which was 2002 for the national championship. Was it pass interference? Was it not pass interference at the very end of the game? Does it even matter anymore? It was 23 years ago.
I don't think it matters. What matters, I think, is how Carson Beck does against the Ohio State defense. So
yes, I think this is going to be a defensive matchup. Both teams have top tier defenses. I believe Ohio State's defense ranks first.
Number one.
Yes, and I think Miami's defense, I believe, ranks number 6. So Miami still has a great defense. So it's going to be, I think, a low scoring game. I think whoever defensive line performs better will probably win that game.
Well, Miami's defensive line is really good. They can get to the quarterback without blitzing.
That's right.
So you're going to have coverage, which you're going to need against Ohio State's elite wide receivers.
Exactly.
So who frankly, I think Jeremiah Smith should have been in that Heisman room.
Definitely.
To me, but look. I think that's going to be an extremely intriguing matchup, right?
Yes.
Is Carson Beck as an experienced quarterback, as someone who has been on this stage before, although he wasn't in the playoffs last year,
correct,
was hurt, but as someone who has played in big games, who understands the pressure to go up against the number one defense, which is Ohio State.
Correct.
And I think it's a tremendous test. Now,
I agree.
The thing about it is, for all the experience of Carson Beck and for everything he brings to the table, this is a Miami team that scored 10 points last time out.
Right.
So now granted, on the road, windy day, tough
trouble for both teams.
Tough,
yes.
Tough situation to throw deep or even kick.
Yes.
But I think that has to be concerning for Miami.
Absolutely.
So and I think you also look at you look at what does Ohio State do well on defense? Well, they're number one against the pass.
Right.
So that says they're number 5 against the rush. So
they're really good. All
phases of the defense. A lot of options there.
Right.
I think Miami has to. They have to be very careful. You can't turn the ball over, and it's the kind of game that a smart quarterback, again,
like Carson Beck.
Carson Beck could, it's a puzzle, and he could be the one to solve it.
That's right.
Look, both teams have played. We're not talking about gauntlet schedules.
Correct.
Ohio State, of course, in their last time out, they lost.
Correct.
They lost to Indiana. But Miami, last time out, they won, but did
barely.
Not look good
right.
at all times.
Right.
So, yeah, I think really interesting game.
Yes, I agree. I think it's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, do you want to pick?
I guess we can.
Yeah, we could. I don't know. I think I think it's going to come down to whether Ohio State can consistently force Carson Beck into bad throws, can force some turnovers, and also whether the wide receivers from Ohio State can get open against what's probably going to be double coverage,
exactly.
and whether Miami's defense can get home with 4 guys or maybe even fewer guys if they can manage it. So I think it's a puzzle for both teams to figure out, because I think even though this is a 2-7, profile is more like a 4-5 because of the way these teams match up.
Exactly. No, I agree with you, and I think that in order for Miami to win, they must play a perfect game. Because Ohio State is nearly a perfect team.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's favored, and they should be, because of I think the weapons that they have.
Exactly.
Both teams have a fearsome defense, so at the end of the day, you want to be able to throw it deep, and have guys who can come down with it. I think
Yes.
Ohio State at the end of the day has those guys.
I agree with you. And as much as I personally would like to see Miami win because they're in the ACC, I just don't think they've seen a team like Ohio State all year.
Right. So okay. So that one's at night on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
We come back the next morning, or I guess noon Eastern time, and that's going to be Oregon and Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl in Miami.
Yes.
So both teams traveling a bit. Oregon quite a bit,
Yes.
as a matter of fact, and playing at an on time. That game, a 9 a.m. Pacific time start.
Correct.
For Oregon. Could
Early
that
for Oregon
be a factor?
It might be.
Well, so Oregon has the 9th best offense. Texas Tech has the 3rd best offense, and in fact, the best offense among teams left in the playoffs.
Okay.
And you look at defensively, Texas Tech has the 2nd best defense, right behind Ohio State. Of course, so many transfers coming in.
Yes.
And Oregon, the 9th best defense. So you've got top 10 units on both sides. This is the 4-5 matchup.
Yes.
So, but a very good one. And so Texas Tech is the top team against the run, right?
Yes.
Oregon, all right, is number 13 overall, but number 2 among playoff teams running the ball. So you have strength
we have an excellent
against
run game.
strength.
Yes.
All right. Passing, Oregon is only 45th overall.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And Texas Tech is 12th. Well, all right. Oregon has the 3rd best pass defense, but and Texas Tech 21st.
Okay.
Pass defense. So, look, it's going to be a fairly evenly matched game.
I think so.
And I think it's going to be really, it's going to come down to which defense can dictate to the other offense.
Correct. And I think this is similar to the Miami Ohio State game, which whichever defense performs better is going to win this game.
So when we look at all of these playoff games, so 6 of the playoff teams still remain have scoring defenses that ranked in the top 10. So I think you're going to see this is going to be like the opposite of the Music City Bowl, right? You're going to see some close, defensive battles. And I think really, as much as we focus on offensive players, who the weapons are, it becomes about, okay, which defense is going to, dictate things, turn the ball over, and make plays, because all of these defenses can.
Right.
And to be honest, I think Texas Tech's defense has a little bit more star power, has a little bit more, ability to make the kind of plays that can cause some havoc.
Can they stop Dante Moore though?
Well, I think that they have shown that they can rise to the occasion. They certainly shut down. They shut down BYU twice, and that's why they're here. And but that was a different sort of offense.
Yes.
I think both teams have had. You look at their schedules, and they don't really have, aside from BYU, which Texas Tech won twice.
Yes.
And they have also win against Utah.
That's right.
A solid win. That was a blowout.
Yes.
Oregon has only the USC win.
Correct.
That was in Eugene.
Correct.
And I'm not so sure that Oregon's schedule measures up to Texas Tech, because when Oregon faced their toughest test of the year, they didn't pass it. They lost to Indiana.
They lost to Indiana, but
At
then
home.
Texas Tech loss is to Arizona State.
Right.
So you can't really compare those losses. I mean, Oregon's loss sure is better.
But when they were facing elite teams, I look at teams and I say, how did they perform when they were playing against the best?
Right.
Playoffs, you're going to go up against the best. When Texas Tech had to play a team that had a chance to be in the playoffs, they knocked them off twice.
Right. They were the second team out of the playoffs.
And then they won their bowl games.
Yes.
So, BYU over Georgia Tech.
Against a good Georgia Tech team.
And Oregon doesn't have that kind of win.
No, they don't.
And when they played Indiana, now everyone who played Indiana got blown
yes.
away, but or at least lost. But I'm not so sure that Oregon profiles as a a really, really elite team capable of beating a team that matches up right there with it in terms of in terms of strength. So to me, I think Texas Tech has more experience winning big games than Oregon does. And so I think that's the kind of team that I would want to go with in the playoffs.
So I also think, Oregon's definitely got some questions on defense. I mean, they let James Madison score so many points in the second half. That's certainly a concern. And remember, Oregon's losing their coordinators because they both got head coaching jobs, most notably Will Stein, who will now be the new coach at Kentucky. Oregon's offensive coordinator. So how prepared are they going to be? Can Dan Lanning and the staff get that team ready?
Right. I think there are a lot of headwinds facing Oregon. Right down to, of course, the location of the game.
Yes.
So and the time of it. So look, because you look at these teams, it's fairly evenly matched. Then you get down to sort of the intangibles, and to me, I look at this, the strength of schedule, the strength of victory, the location, the time. The coordinators, everything. It really points to Texas Tech.
I agree with you. As much as I'd like to see Oregon win, they have experience in the playoffs, even though they lost their playoff games last year. I'd like to, see Oregon win, but I think Texas Tech will take it.
Yeah. Which, again, we're not offering advice here. I think we would not be surprised to see any of these games go the other way, just because these are elite teams. Like I said, 6 of the 8 teams have a top 10 defense.
That's right.
For the season.
It'll be a close game, I think, no matter who wins.
It's going to be really good. All right. So we go from there then to the Rose Bowl, and that's Indiana. The Big Ten champ goes to the Rose Bowl, and they face Alabama.
Now, Alabama's also a team that has to travel.
Yes. Yeah. Although it's kind of historic. The Alabama's biggest, their first big win probably in program history came 100 years ago at the Rose Bowl in 1926. Of course, established a new era of Southern football. Southern football was not really respected up until then, so they opened a lot of doors, I think, for Tennessee and for Florida State
and all the programs in the South.
By winning that game. But now again they face a really tough test.
The best team in the country.
Which Indiana went out and proved it against Ohio State. No question that they are number one.
Right.
You look at them statistically. Well, scoring offense number 4 overall. Scoring defense number 3. All right, so top 10 unit on both sides of the ball. They if there's a weakness there, it might be against the pass. They're only number 22. Whereas they're number 23 against the run.
Okay.
They don't really have to put it in the air that often. They're only 50, number 50 in passing yards, although they have the Heisman quarterback.
Yes. They can certainly do it.
And they're the top rushing team in these playoffs. They're number 11 overall. So now, how does that fit against Alabama? Well, Indiana's, like I said, the top rushing team in the playoffs. Alabama is the bottom rushing team in the playoffs. They are number 125.
Wow.
Yeah, running the ball.
But if you look at Alabama this season, you can see because of that, they have really relied on Ty Simpson.
Well, number 22 in passing yards, but that all adds up to an offense that is at the bottom of all the playoff teams. They're number 35. So how do they make up for it on defense? Well, they are next to last. in defense.
Yikes.
They are outside the top 10. They're
Mm-hmm.
number 16 overall.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have they are number 15 against the pass.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say how they do against the run, they're next to last amongst
Right.
the playoff teams, number
Right.
32 overall.
Mm-hmm.
So Indiana, which is the best running team, they have an ability perhaps to exploit Alabama on the ground.
Correct.
And then when they need to, they've got the Heisman winner at quarterback.
Right.
Um, so you look at that, but then you think, well, wait a second. Now, how about schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Alabama has played
A lot of tough teams.
yes, an abundance of ranked teams.
Yes.
Indiana. Now
Ohio State,
they
Oregon.
haven't played a terrible schedule by
Right.
any means.
Right.
Played Ohio State. They played Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
You get beyond that, and you don't have they played Illinois, blew them out.
Penn State, they barely won.
Penn State barely
Mhm.
won against the team that was 6-6 in the regular
Right.
season, barely made the bowl, although they did win the bowl
Yes,
against
they
Clemson.
did. Yes.
And so yeah, the schedule of strength I think favors Alabama.
Of course.
But you look at some of those stats, and
Mhm.
there's a real difference there.
Absolutely.
And this is a 1 versus a 9 game for a reason.
Right. Again, I think when Alabama is prepared and they play well, they can't be stopped. So I think you have to look at which Alabama team is going to show up to this playoff game. Is it going to be the Alabama team who, lost to Georgia in the SEC championship, or the team who lost to Florida State in week 1? Or is it going to be the Alabama team we've seen that beat Tennessee? Is it the one we're going to see who beat Oklahoma? Which Alabama team is it? And I think that's really going to depend how this game goes.
Ask Georgia about the two Alabamas. Right?
Yes,
they
exactly.
They beat Alabama. They lost to Alabama.
Exactly.
We've seen that dichotomy where they've looked bad sometimes. I mean,
yeah.
They lost to Florida State,
right.
Right. A 5-7 team.
Yes.
And they also beat Georgia, the number 3 team in these playoffs.
Right, and they beat Oklahoma.
Yeah. So.
But they also lost to Oklahoma.
They also lost to Oklahoma. So, that's the thing is you have this duality there for Alabama, and they've played multiple teams, and they have 3 losses though. That's the thing.
Yes.
So it's that consistency. They lack that. But again, I go back to what I said earlier, which is who are you? When you're playing the best.
Right.
Even then, though, we see inconsistency for Alabama.
Yes.
Right? We see sometimes they can beat the best, sometimes they can't beat the best. And so, I think a lot falls on Kalen DeBoer to go out and say, okay, look, you're going to have to deliver your best.
Right. Indiana is the best.
Indiana might be your toughest game left on the board. So, let's go out and do what we can. And I think though, if you look at coaching, look, you've got the 2-time, 2 in a row, coach of the year, Curt Cignetti.
Right.
So if you say the game comes down to coaching, that's an advantage for Indiana too.
Correct. But Kalen DeBoer did coach at Washington before he came to Alabama, got them to the to the playoffs, to the national championship when they lost to Michigan a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kalen DeBoer is not a slouch.
No, he's a great coach too.
Right. But I just think Indiana is that cut above. They've been elite when they get tested. They pass the test every time. So to me, and the only loss, the last time they'd lost was last season in the playoffs against Notre Dame team who went to the championship.
Correct.
So this looks, like Indiana's game to lose. Alabama's certainly capable of winning.
Absolutely, they are. Yes.
But Indiana has just been consistent throughout the season in a way that Alabama has not.
Correct. I think if Alabama wins this game, they're going to win the national championship.
I think they'd certainly be capable. They might have to go through Georgia a third time.
Who wants to see that again?
So yeah, hopefully not. But
and also though, Indiana, yes, they've played some great teams. They beat Ohio State, they beat Oregon, but they haven't played an SEC team yet. And this is Alabama. They have the name, they have the reputation.
It is, yeah. You have. I
think it's gonna be a great game.
This is, this is the most important SEC versus Big Ten game so far.
Yes.
We're seeing a lot of them in the bowl season.
Yes.
For as much as you can take away from that.
Yes.
We saw a couple of them during the regular season. Ohio State, Texas, probably most prominent among them. So yeah, it's a measuring stick, I think, for the conferences. And this year, I think, the perception has been that the Big Ten, at least the elite teams, are a little bit better than the SECs.
They're elite teams, right?
Yeah, and so now I think the SEC maybe perhaps with the chip on their shoulder, something that you can use if you're Kalen DeBoer in coaching, try and say, okay, now let's go, as the Alabama team of 100 years ago did in this very stadium on this very day, capture that, that honor.
Yes.
For the SEC.
Yes.
And the Southern
football.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know how old how well a 100-year-old coaching pitch is going to do, but we'll maybe Kalen DeBoer will give it a shot.
That's right. It's going to be a great game.
All right. So after the Rose Bowl, at night we have the Sugar Bowl.
Yes.
Speaking of football in the South, and that is a Southern SEC rematch. Mississippi and Georgia.
Correct. I mean, being played at the Sugar Bowl, and I believe that's in Atlanta. Is that correct?
No, it's New Orleans.
It's New Orleans. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually the 50th, I believe the 50th Sugar Bowl game.
Okay.
In New Orleans, or in the Superdome in New Orleans.
So kind of a middle ground for both teams. Probably a little closer to Mississippi, but.
Yeah. Look. Look, when you look at these two teams, there is a clear weakness, and that is Mississippi's defense. They're the worst team defensively left in the playoffs. They're number 36 overall. They are the worst against the run. They're only number 68.
Oh wow!
Against the run.
Wow.
Every other playoff team is at least 32 or higher. So they are significantly worse against the run than everyone still in the playoffs, and they're also next to last against the Pats, 42nd. All right, but guess who's last against the Pats? Georgia.
Uh-oh.
Georgia, number 47 against the Pats. Okay. And then so you look at the offense now. Mississippi can pass the ball. They're the best passing team.
Yes.
Trinidad Chambliss.
Yes, he's excellent.
Late of Ferris State. Now in the Sugar Bowl, number 4 passing offense. Of course, that was under Lane Kiffin. So can in Mississippi air it out?
Yeah.
They're also number 27 on the ground, so they're better offense both through the air and on the ground than Georgia is. Will that be enough to overcome a clear weakness on defense? This is, I think, unlike the other 3 games that we have, this one profiles more as a shootout.
Right, high scoring, lots of points, and I agree, a shootout type game.
So
this could be fun to watch.
Yeah, and for a rematch, mind you.
Yes.
Because we saw this game once before.
That's correct.
And Georgia came away with the win.
Right, and Mississippi is playing rematches in the playoffs. They,
back
blew out Tulane. That was no surprise, and now they have another rematch against Georgia.
Yeah. So look, I think. The Mississippi is going to have to overcome some things. Obviously, having lost this game once before, and also the loss of their head coach, and everything that went on, all the drama. Now you say, okay, great, that's done. You don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
Now we've got a stable situation, and an interim coach who's going to be there going forward to say, all right, now we have our coach. We have our team, and we can focus in a little bit better, maybe make up for some of those gaps that we had. Is it, and now Lane Kiffin obviously is not around. How much of an influence does he really have on the the game management? All right, is that gonna be an issue, or maybe even a plus for Mississippi because again, you get away from somebody who had his eye
Right.
elsewhere.
Right.
Um,
Well,
so
remember, they've already played a game.
yeah,
Granted, it was against Tulane, but they've already played a game, so they've got some practice and
yeah, they I mean they have a little bit of extra reps, but
right.
Georgia, remember this is also their 14th game too because they
Yes.
played in the SEC
That's
championship.
correct.
And won it. And so Georgia has, they earned the number 3 seed. They were clearly the top team in the SEC all year long. The only blemish is the loss to Alabama, which they then avenged.
Exactly.
So
Georgia's a great team on both sides of the ball.
yeah, and so I think there's just when I look at this, it's just a little too much to overcome for Mississippi.
I think so too.
The defensive problems that they have, and it just again just a clear weakness on defense there, especially against the pass. Gunnar Stockton can
he can throw the ball. He's complete, and as far as coaching goes, Georgia's very stable. Well, on the other side,
and actually against the pass and against the run because they also have. That's where they're number 68.
Yes,
in Mississippi against the run. So, will Georgia be able to exploit that? I should think so.
I think they'll be able to.
Both. I think Trinidad Chambliss. He will make some things happen.
Sure.
That's an explosive offense for Mississippi. But I think they're just going to be having to play catch up all night.
Right.
Because I think Georgia is the type of team that can really take advantage.
I agree.
Of a weakness on defense. So.
I look for Georgia to take care of business there.
Yeah. But again, Mississippi's here for a reason.
That's right.
So we'll see.
It's why we love college football. Any team can beat any other team anytime, which we have seen this season.
Now now we're at this level of playoffs. There are no more group of fives. There are no more Tulanes or James Madisons or teams that are clearly going to be outclassed.
Yes.
Now you're down to teams, all of whom should think that they have a legitimate shot to win it all.
I think any of those 8 teams really could win the national championship.
I do too. I think to be honest, I think Mississippi is probably the longest shot.
Okay.
Just because of their weaknesses defensively, but
they can still do it.
They can still do it because
they have a 1 in 8 chance.
Yeah. Well, probably a little less than that if you measure it all out, but. No, they're not Tulane, they're not James Madison, they're not outclassed.
Correct.
All right. So, of course, those are the focus games. We have a few more bowl games of note, in addition to Tennessee against Illinois and the Music City Bowl on Tuesday late, I guess, night. Later that night, you have USC against TCU. But you also have, I think, New Year's Eve. If you like kind of the old school bowl experience of like a day full of bowls, of course this past Saturday was that to a certain degree, but maybe a little higher caliber bowls. I think New Year's Eve is that kind of day because starts with Iowa and Vanderbilt at noon.
That'll be a great game.
Diego Pavia, this can burn off some energy against the...
Certainly needs to after that whole Heisman thing.
Against a challenging Iowa defense, frankly. So I think that's that should be fun.
Exactly.
Arizona State, that's the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa. And then the Sun Bowl in El Paso at 2 o'clock, Arizona State and ACC champion Duke.
That's right.
And not too many conference champions, Power 4 conference champions wind up in the Sun Bowl.
That's right.
So this is...
an 8-5 Duke team.
With an inferior record to 8-4 Arizona State.
Yes.
At the 3 o'clock, then Michigan and Texas. This one, I think, a fun one.
I think it's going to be a great game.
The Citrus Bowl.
And remember, Michigan, they've just got a new head coach.
They do. That was quite the tumultuous.
Yes, that's a great way to word it. Yes.
Transition. Now he won't be coaching.
No, but I'm sure Kyle Whittingham will be there.
Well, he won't. I don't think, because he's going to be in Utah, or
Oh,
excuse me, with Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl,
okay.
which is at the only a half hour later.
Oh,
So
okay.
he will not. Kyle Whittingham will not be there with Michigan, but he will be with Utah at 3:30 against Nebraska. Um, so that that's the last game of the day before you get into the playoffs,
Yes.
which are at night. So
Yes.
that's a 7:30 start. But yeah, so you have a couple of games kick off early, 12-2, and then you have the Citrus Bowl, Michigan, Texas, and then you have the Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska, Utah, and then
Really good games.
yeah, by the time you get off of New Year's Day with the three playoff games. Those are the only games that day.
Correct.
No bowl games on New Year's Eve. It's all playoffs.
Correct.
Unless you count, I mean, yes, they call them bowls, I guess, at this point. Orange Bowl,
Yes.
Rose Bowl. They're playoff games.
Yes.
The next day you get some more bowl games. But yeah, we're talking the Armed Forces Bowl, Rice, Texas State, Navy, Cincinnati, and the Liberty Bowl. A ranked Arizona team against SMU in the Holiday Bowl. That's probably the best of them on Friday.
Probably.
Wake Forest and Mississippi State in the Dukes Mayo Bowl.
At 5-7, Mississippi State.
Yes. So not kind of that Friday will be kind of a come down.
Yes.
From the playoffs.
Well, I think we'll probably need that because I believe the playoff games are going to be so good.
Yeah, they should be. I
Yes.
mean, like I said, all the elite teams now. So
it's going to be exciting.
All right. Well, after that, we'll come back, take a look at the semis, which will be set and for the following Thursday and Friday night. So we'll be back before those to break it down and see what happens on New Year's Day.